Hey guys, welcome. Today we've got another installment of our Versus series, and we're taking a look at these two guys right here. Two different versions of the Tavor-21 from Umarex and Elite Force. This one up top is their Tavor-21 Competition series. This one down below is their CTAR Elite series. And we're going to compare them head to head, and we're going to tell you, is it worth keeping your money in your wallet and going for that competition series, or is it worth jumping up to that premium Elite CTAR? So stay tuned. All right guys, so let's go over just really quickly the differences in the outside and the inside for each of these guns, because we really want to get to how do they perform against each other, and are they worth the money, and is it worth jumping up to that Elite series? So this is the Tavor-21 Competition series. It is the less expensive variety of the Tavor-21. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Tavor-21, this is the standard issue rifle of the Israeli Defense Force. It is a bullpup design assault rifle, which means that the receiver, the bolt carrier, and the magazine are all located behind the pistol grip. And what this does is it makes a lot of the weight in the pocket of your shoulder so that the gun is easily maneuverable, even with one hand, and it keeps the overall length of the gun down while keeping the length of the barrel itself still pretty long. Now on this competition series, it is a one-to-one replica, but it is it does seem to be a lower quality composite body. It does have some ABS plastic pieces on it, namely this top piece, the foregrip itself, and the butt plate on the back of the stock. This short rail up top is also plastic, and it has plastic flip-up sights. And in fact, the sights, the aperture on the sight is really small on this big fat flip-up sight, so it's a little bit hard to get a good sight picture very quickly. So not a real fan of the sights on the competition series. The magazine release on the competition is ambidextrous. It comes with a high cap winding metal magazine, just your standard M4 magazine. Now pulling the front charging handle back does open up the ejection port in the back to reveal the rotary style hop up, and it is a working bolt catch. The bolt catch release is right behind the magazine underneath your chin. Now on the inside of this gun, you have a fully upgradable metal Tavor-21 gearbox without an inline MOSFET. Now it does have a quick change spring system, which you get to by removing the bolt on the buttstock. It swivels open. You have access to that quick change spring system right there. And that about covers the competition series. So let's have a look at the Elite. Now this is the CTAR Flat Top Elite series by Elite Force and Umarex. And this is considered a pro line gun from Elite Force. It feels much more solid, whereas the competition series has a little bit cheaper composite body. This has a really solid heavy duty polymer body, just like its real steel equivalent. And whereas the competition series kind of has a toy vibe when you're holding it because it's a little bit disproportionate in weight, this one is just super solid. It's got a decent bit of weight to it. It's evenly distributed, whereas the competition series only has QD sling mounts on the right and left of the buttstock. This Elite series has QD sling mounts on the right and left of the buttstock, as well as up front behind the foregrip. And speaking of the foregrip, this is where the battery is located on both guns. On the competition series, there's a button you push to pull this foreguard off. Now on the Elite series, this foregrip is attached with a couple of left and right Allen keys, so it's much more secure. But it's a really big compartment. You can put pretty much any type of battery you want in there, including various different varieties of 11.1 LiPos. And because this gun has a MOSFET, you don't have to worry about running that 11.1 LiPo. Now when you pull the front charging handle back, similarly, it does reveal a rotary style hop up with a working bolt catch, and the bolt catch release again is underneath your chin behind the magazine. Now the magazine on this gun, it is an ambidextrous magazine release by virtue of its location. But because this gun is OEM'd by Aries, you get an Aries Amoeba M4 high cap winding magazine. It's a pretty cool magazine. It's got some nice stippling on it. It's got a little peek window with some faux bullets. And interestingly enough, which is pretty cool, it comes with an integrated rubber mag pull, which I think is a nice touch. Now on the inside of the Elite series, you have got a full metal barrel assembly with an aluminum outer barrel. Full metal, upgradable Tavor-21 gearbox with metal 8mm bushings and an inline MOSFET. And of course, just like we mentioned on the competition series, it has a quick change spring system, which you access by removing this bolt right here. Butt plate swivels open, and you have immediate access to that spring without having to take the gun apart or take the gearbox out or anything like that. All right guys, so that about covers it for the comparison between the externals and the internals of the gun physically, but we want to go find out how these guys perform individually and head to head, maybe even see some gameplay, and then we're going to come back and talk about it. The Tavor came in shooting really consistently at 340 feet per second with .20 gram BBs, with very little deviation, maybe 2 up or 2 down. And with an 11.1 LiPo battery, it shot a very respectable 19 rounds per second. The CTAR Elite, on the other hand, is shooting just into that outdoor range at 355 feet per second with .20 gram BBs, and a slightly higher RPS at 21 on the same 11.1 LiPo. On each of these guns, we tried to make the conditions exactly the same. We put about 30 rounds into the torso with both the Competition Series and the Elite Series, from the exact same distance, seated, with the exact same dialed-in optic. And what may not translate to the sights and sounds of shooting is the Competition Series had a really long trigger pull, a really loud gearbox, and a really hard thunk at the stop of the rotation. The Competition Series, on the other hand, had a really short trigger pull, a really smooth, crisp gearbox rotation, and a nice, relatively quiet snap. There's really not a lot of difference here. I don't see a lot of difference at all. Looks like the Competition Series was pulling to the left a little bit. Looks like all the groupings to the left of the torso. Now on all these shots I was aiming for the middle red dot torso. I wasn't aiming for the head at all, because I just want to see the consistency and grouping between these two guns head to head. Right here, we've got one that hit outside. We've got one up high here with the Elite that almost hit outside. Technically speaking, this is an outside shot miss through the Elite as well, even though that's a shoulder shot. It's really hard to say on this. They both look about equal. I would almost say the Competition Series was a tighter group, even though the accuracy wasn't quite as good. But the Elite version was very consistent. It's a very equal distribution of shot. But in gameplay is where the Elite Series really distinguished itself. Alright guys, so from the shooting sequences, it's hard to find any fault from 70 and 90 feet with either one of these guns as far as accuracy and consistency go at those distances. Both guns shoot perfectly well. The hop-ups perform perfectly well. Grouping is really nice on both guns. You could make the argument it was a little bit better on the Competition Series, but at those distances, they're both really good. But I wish I could convey all 5 senses through the camera to you guys so you could really get a feel for how each of these guns shot, because there was a tremendous difference in feel. The Competition Series definitely has kind of a toy vibe. The trigger pull is really long and spongy, and it's when you're letting that trigger back out, it is unclear where that trigger reset is at all. And the gearbox itself on every rotation is really clunky and loud, and because of where it's located with that bullpup design, it's a little bit ear piercing. Now, by contrast, the CTAR Elite Series, no wasted motion, no shake, no whine, no rattle, short trigger pulls, quick resets, really crisp, quiet gear rotations inside the mech box. And you could really tell a tremendous difference in this gun when we took it out for distance shooting and gameplay. Although neither one of these guns are going to win any records for the distance they can shoot, you're not going to shoot with any accuracy beyond about 180 feet. But from 180 feet in, absolute pinpoint accuracy. So really the point of the video, and the question comes right down to it, are both of these guns worth their respective price? And is it worth it to jump from the Competition Series to the Elite Series if you're considering a CTAR? Because the point is not to see if the Elite Series is better than the Competition Series. It sure as heck better be, right? The question is it worth the jump? And in my estimation, it absolutely is. Because it doesn't have that toy gun vibe going to it. The gun is super solid, even weight distribution, super maneuverable in the pocket of your shoulder, and anything it lacks in extreme distance, it totally makes up for in accuracy. If you're looking for a CTAR and you have it in your budget, I absolutely would drop the $340 on the CTAR Elite. Now, having said that, if you only have $175 in your budget and you really like the Tavor styling, you're going to be perfectly fine with the Competition Series. You can take it out to the field. It's got reasonable distance. It's got reasonable accuracy. It's got a good hop up. You're going to hit what you're shooting at. But as the price point would suggest, it's not going to have that same level of quality and durability. So guys, that's the video for you. That's our comparison between the Tavor-21 Competition series and the CTAR Elite series, both by Elite Force and Umarex. We hope it helped your decision making if you're in the market for a Tavor. And hey, if you want to help our channel out, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, because it really does help us get out in front of more new people. And if you haven't already, join our journey by hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video that comes out every Tuesday with bonus videos on Fridays. And until then, we'll see you next time.